Yes, I know I'm very, very late to the party on this show, but you gotta forgive me because I didn't have an Amazon Prime account. So, but I got to watching it and it is super dope, and I understand what all the hype is about. This thing was written really good. The characters, the animation reminds me a little bit of the DC animation. I don't know if that's by design or if the people that worked on Invincible are in the same studio, are from the same studio, but I enjoyed the animation. And it's funny because when you watch the first episode, well, spoiler warning if you haven't seen Invincible and you're late like me to watching this phenomenon that I heard so much about and now I understand the hype. It's funny, right? When I watched the first episode, I was like, huh, okay, it's like every other cartoon or any other animation. I don't know what's all this hype about, and I saw that in the first episode it said rating 18 and over. And I think for the first 2 or 3 episodes it was 18 and over. Then they dropped it to 16 and over. And I was like, this isn't 18 and over material. And then you see what Omni-Man does to the Guardians of the Globe. Holy F. From that moment, the shock value got me hooked. Almost the same way that when you were watching Game of Thrones and you see Ned's head get chopped off and you were like, wait, what? They're killing off of main characters, at least what you think are main characters, and it just shocks you. And it got me hooked from there. It was so gruesome and so in your face that when it finished, my mouth was just open. My jaw dropped. I was like, holy crap. And the death of the Guardians of the Globe is basically the backdrop of the whole story. Several humans plus other superhumans are trying to investigate the story of how they died, and obviously us as the watchers of this show, we know it's Omni-Man, but we are like his wife, right? We maybe there was another reason. Maybe he got possessed. Maybe he was something came over him. Maybe someone was controlling him. And then when we find out that it's basically he just thinks of humans as weak, little, fragile, insignificant insect, and how he just wants to conquer us or get rid of the weak, which is, I guess, a way of going at it, right? Many other conquerors in real life have taken that same approach, maybe not to the global appeal that Omni-Man was trying to take it, but holy crap. And the whole time that I was thinking was, this is what would happen if Superman turned evil and didn't give two hecks about anything about the human race, and he just switched. Which, looking at this show and then looking at, the Ben Affleck's Batman in the Batman v Superman, when he goes, if there's even 1%, 1 inch of inkling that you could do this, we had to take it as an absolute. And you could see why you should take it as an absolute, because Jesus, you could not stop him. And at any moment, he could destroy you and kill you by his sheer want to. Like, he doesn't kill Invincible because that's his son. But at some point towards the end, when he's kicking his ass, he almost wants to, if it wasn't for just Invincible telling him, like, when he goes, when Omni-Man when his dad tells him, oh, what would you have 500 years from now? And he goes, I would have you. And that kind of grabbed him, and then he kind of disappears. That was the only reason that I think he didn't kill him, because golly, I mean, he's just so OP, right? He's so overpowered, more than anyone. And there's a ton of superheroes in this universe of Invincible, but nothing compared to him. And like I said, it's the same thing with Superman, right? Superman is just so overpowering that at any moment he could just take out everyone. And what was funny about the Guardians of the Globe, it reminded me of the Justice League, right? And I think that was by design. and it had a much bigger impact, especially for, I think, comic book fans that are used to watching the Justice League, like Batman, Wonder Woman, the Flash. I mean, it was literally that. Even they had Aquaman in there, just in the shape of a fish. You know, he was the ruler of Atlantis, if you will. And just the way Omni-Man had no problem, it would be the same exact thing that Superman would do, and just take him out in less than a minute. Basically, all of them were dead, and that's just the strength of Omni-Man. And I enjoyed the unique. I could definitely, like I said earlier, I understand the hype. I understand the appeal. It, you know, with the modern music, you didn't have all this epicness, this symphony kind of style. It was more like hip. Definitely directed to a much younger crowd or comic book fans, but the use of current pop music, just having that kind of unique appeal to the young folks. And the stories were not dull, right? I mean, as far as like Invincible's story, the fact that he's a teenager dealing with his powers and dealing with his hormones and dealing with girls, having, you know, being a superhero, that's kind of old. I mean, we've seen that in so many. If anybody remembers Smallville or shows like that, you know, deal with teenagers, or even Teen Titan, you kind of have that playing into effect. Even Superman a little bit, you know, in Superman Far From Home, or the Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 2, where he's dealing with where he just wants to be a high school kid and he wants to just be with MJ, but you know, because he's a superhero, he isn't allowed to just be a kid, and he's dealing with that. So I thought that was a pretty, you know, by the textbook, you know, story arc. But just the way they had a new, a little bit, not too original, but I'll give them the originality, because it was definitely original enough where they had their own spin on superhero, and it made you feel like you were watching something new. Again, even though there was a little Superman and Justice League in the characters, you know, the Guardians of the Globe, the first ones, but then when they introduced more of their original ones, it was interesting. You know, like the girl that he liked, that looked like a firecracker thingamajiggy, Adam Eve, I think is her name. She was pretty unique among the other ones. The guy that, you know, the one that Adam Eve, her boyfriend, that shot firecrackers. That was kind of interesting. So, Robot was kind of interesting. You figured he was the evil one, and he ended up being not the evil one. Even though, did anyone else think when he was in his capsule, he reminded me of Eric Cartman from South Park? So I just thought all I thought when he was right there, man, that's Eric Cartman right there, in some kind of like weird, you know, troll that he does. But anyways, I completely enjoyed this this miniseries, or this series. I can't wait for part 2 or season 2 to come out. I will be right there along with you guys watching it, and I will for surely do an episode by episode review before that. I just didn't want to do that with this one, since everyone's already watched it, and I'm a fairly new channel, so I was like, let me just do an overall series review. But I get it, you guys were right. This is worth the watch, worth the investment in time. But I enjoyed it. I gave this first season an A. I think it was the pacing was perfect. The shock value was there. The story was well written. You had clear objectives from these characters. You had a twist that kind of, I don't know if people saw it coming, or, you know, but I enjoyed the twist in the story, which then pumped it up to another different octane. And what a great finish. I mean, the ending was kind of because he just leaves, right? But I'm assuming that it's because he's going to come back with his, you know, more of his people that are more cruel, that don't have that bond with, you know, some of the Earthlings, especially his son, and just go in conquer mode. At least that's what I'm expecting in season 2. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know, what did you think about Invincible? Put your thoughts down in the comments, and like always, that's a wrap.